when I graduated, which is 25 years back, it was the mindset was if you're a dietitian, you work in a hospital, you work in food service. There were just very limited arenas that a dietitian would work in. Now it is, I mean, I've seen dietitians, I've seen my own, students that have worked with me in so many different platforms. And I absolutely love it because we could be, I mean, who could not use a dietitian? Everybody can. Everybody can.
Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to RD's Thriving in Private Practice, where we share our collective wisdom about building a nutrition practice and get inspired. I'm Catherine Dittman. Joining me today is Moushumi Mukherjee. Moushumi is a seasoned Michigan-based registered dietitian with over 2 decades of experience. She wears multiple hats and believes variety is the spice of life. Moushumi maintains a thriving private practice, empowering women over 40 to achieve their health and wellness goals. She is also a consultant for nursing home and hospice care facilities, as well as rehab centers serving brain and spinal injury patients. In addition to her clinical work, Moushumi offers corporate wellness programs, writes ebooks, and is a sought-after brand ambassador for companies like Orgain. Her insights have been featured on television and in Health Journal. She works closely with students at Michigan State University, volunteering her time as a preceptor. Her dedication to her field is evident in her belief that nutrition is not just a profession, but a passion. Welcome, Moushumi, and thanks for being here.
Thank you, Catherine.
Great. So we'll get started. And as you say, you wear multiple hats. So what has your journey been like that has led you to all these different specialties and the populations that you serve?
I started out, Catherine, as a dietitian working for the county, then hospital. And, I had set timings that I had to work for. Anyways, that was not suiting my lifestyle at that time. I was expecting my first baby, and I was looking out for something more flexible, something where I could be my own boss. So then I went back to some of my professors. I'm a Michigan State University graduate. I did go back and reach out to a few of my professors, and they actually got me started or got me in touch with some consulting for some nursing homes. So that's how my consultant journey began. And then as I was doing consultant work with nursing homes and hospice rehab facilities, I still wanted to do something of my very own, something that I could call just mine. And I through my journey, 40 plus, as I entered that age group, I myself felt or went through some health challenges, even though I thought I was doing everything right with my lifestyle. So I got digging in, and that's how I started my own private practice where I do see women. Typically, that is my niche or specialty, and I work with women 40 and older, helping them reach their weight goals. So it was kind of inspired by my own story or, things I went through. And so my belief is when we go through something ourselves, we are better at it, even though we might have all the knowledge from books and things like that. So, in a nutshell, that is my journey or my story.
Right. So personal reasons for choosing that niche and specialty. And I agree with you that it can be true that we are more invested in the work and in learning about it and in helping other people when it is something that, we've had personal experience with. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So at this point, what percentage of your work do you think comes from your private practice clients versus your consulting and some of the other side things that you do?
It truly varies, meaning summer months, I like to just take a step back and I do not like to take clients at that time. So, on an average, Catherine, I would say maybe 30 to 40% of my time is possibly dedicated to my private practice.
Okay. Okay. And I can see how that would be a pretty attractive business model for a lot of people because that would avoid burnout and let you or someone else even do a variety of other things that are also interesting.
Mhm.
And so, my guess is that this also works because in either slower times or when you just don't feel like taking clients or you want to take a break, you have other sources of income, also known as revenue streams that will help float your business, lifestyle, income, and all of that.
You said it just right.
Right.
It there's a few reasons I get asked this question quite a bit because it does, when you are in many different places, it does entail more work, more organization. However, the reason I enjoy it is it might be just my personality. I like the variety. I know everybody says niche specialty, and I do believe in that, but um, my brain is always looking for variety. So when I say in my private practice, Catherine, I work with women 40 and over. If somebody um, had, for example, a brain injury, that still would be very interesting to me. I don't know if you can relate. So I do, on a different setting, I do work with TBI clients. So what I'm coming at is that variety is truly the spice of my life. I absolutely enjoy it. And like you said, it works very well when you are thinking of it financially too. So you have like a stable base. For example, as a consultant to nursing homes, hospice, I have a stable income. And then, I have my private practice, which, needless to say, for the last few years, I always have had a waiting list. But, it's again where I want to cut off. I feel like I have the power or I can do it for myself.
Mhm. Mhm.
My interest takes me at this point.
Yeah, so I can see, I'm just sort of like imagining myself in a similar position where I would feel like I've got a lot of energy and I want to take on more people. So I might open up more spots. And then if I am doing some other things or I want to travel, I might kind of close that down a little bit. And so you said you always have a wait list. And how do you work with that? This is something we haven't talked about in these interviews before on keeping a wait list where people stay on the wait list and don't just say, "Oh, well, I'll go somewhere else then." How do you manage that?
Honestly, I feel like if you are the sought after dietitian, Catherine, most of my referrals come to me word of mouth. So
Mm,
then there is that personal touch of why somebody has made a referral for me, and so that person wants to make sure they get to see me. Um, so many a times I've had people who waited, like I said, summertime, for example, we do a lot of traveling and I do cut back. So people wait through that time. And sometimes, if it's an emergency, meaning I sense that in somebody's voice, I will make that exception. Like I said, this is my passion, so I will do that for somebody if I, again, sense like they really need to see me in the next week or the next couple weeks.
Amazing. Yeah, yeah. So when you say your referrals are word of mouth, that's former clients, not necessarily doctors' offices or referrals from other places. Is that correct?
So most of them are from former clients. Some come to me from physicians that I have a personal, that we are, again, they've got good feedback. So then they want to refer out to me. So that's how it works. Unfortunately, in Michigan, we are not able to bill insurance. So that becomes a hindrance sometimes for people because private pay can be difficult. Yet one of my pointers is, if we put our hearts and soul, if this becomes a passion, like I said, I have not had any issues so far getting clients. And it might be, again, because, I just do this part-time. So I'm only seeing so many clients a week. I do not want to exceed that limit because I have other jobs that I do too.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have even if it's not well defined, but a sales process, like someone reaches out either by email or phone call? Do you schedule sort of an introductory call? Do you just schedule them right in? Do they pay just per week, session by session? Or is there a package? What's your sales process like?
So I do have a 5-minute discovery call where I would talk to them, tell them about what I'm offering. Um, right now, I am offering a 3-month package, for example. So they pay me for the 3 months. And the way I like to market it is that by the end of 3 months, what I have noticed is that there becomes the mindset change, is what me as a dietitian, I am looking for that. So it becomes a part of their life. I'm helping my clients reach sustainable changes, correct? So I feel like just one session does not, I would not justify, I don't feel it's justified with just one session. So to be honest with you, I have stopped even doing or offering just a one-time session, apart from very, very few exceptional cases. It is all a 3-month package that I offer. And then I have what I call an accountability program for my clients. So anybody that's actually gone through my 3-month program can enroll in my accountability program, which is, again, a low ticket program. And basically, they are being accountable. And that's another program I run. It's kind of like back to back. So
When you encounter somebody who, there might be a little uncertain and, oh, this is, I don't know your fee schedule, but they might say, oh, that's a lot of money up front. How do I know this is going to work? I'm not so sure. They're getting wishy-washy. Do you have a strategy for helping them overcome such objections?
absolutely. So a few things that I think are helpful. One is Google reviews. So I have very strong reviews. So I make sure to tell them, you can, look in my reviews. You can look at the cases I've worked at, and then make a decision. Number two, I do have a letter that explains that in Michigan we are not able to take insurance for whatever reason, and I honestly, Catherine, I think I've kept my price at a rate that is hopefully reachable or doable for more people. And then, like I said, on my website, I also have my success stories
Mhm.
of, uh, you know, most, I would say 90 to 95% of my clientele are happy, or they feel like they've reached where they wanted to reach after, going through my program. I do set very realistic goals. That is another thing. I do not, if I feel like somebody is asking for something that I will not be able to help them with, I am upfront about that. For example, if somebody comes in, I help women reach their weight goals. Now, say somebody comes to me and says, Moushumi, in the next month, I want to lose 10 to 15 pounds. I will say, that's possibly not going to happen, because to me weight is there, but I'm looking at your inside out health, and weight's going to follow, and I believe in sustainable gradual weight loss. So I feel like being open and honest in your communication is very, very important to build that trust with clientele.
100% agree on that. Yeah, that's an important point, is if we sign someone on and they have unrealistic expectations and we don't confront those in the beginning, of course they're going to end up being disappointed,
Mhm.
right? And then that
Mhm.
reflects poorly on us for kind of making false promises, and
Yes,
no one wants to be involved in that. Yeah, yeah.
there you go.
Now, when you say you have a program, is that something where there's a system that you have in place that you take people through, or are and I imagine, of course, you're individualizing it and customizing it for people, but can you tell us a little bit about how that program might be structured? Do you have like video courses, readings, other resources? What's it like?
The package, you mean, right?
Just what kind of what delivery methods for the information aside from your face-to-face time with them?
So a few things, like you said, it is very customized to the need of the client that I am serving. I do have ebooks. If you again go on my website, those are the books that I have for sale. But other than that, also I have, because that is one of my passions, is to write these ebooks, which are very helpful for my clients as they go through the program. So even though in a 3-month program, I am seeing them only 4 times face to face, we are doing weekly check-ins with them. So my Fridays are dedicated just for that, where they're sending me their food fluid, or, if they're not able to send that, then I have some other things. But we are basically touching base, my clients and me, week to week. So I'm gauging the progress they're making. And then based on that, I will send something motivational. For example, if the person is, uh, uh, how do I say, is getting stuck with, I need, Mashumi, can you give me some ideas of quick meals? I'm working, I'm trying to balance everything. I would send them an ebook, or, a handout with recipes, some plans, again, that I would customize. I have some basics that are already done, but then I just customize it. I do it all on my own. I do not use any program for that. And then I send it to them. So we do week to week, we do touch base week to week.
Mhm.
Even though, like I said, we actually just meet face to face the 4 times. And they can text me in that 3 month, they can text me anytime. They do know I only will be answering in my office hours, the 8 to 5, but they are able to email me or text me with any questions.
Great, great. So this sort of explains how you're able to have so many things going on because you're not tied to be seeing them face to face so frequently. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay. Let's transition to marketing. So tell me a little bit about what kinds of efforts maybe you have made in the past, anything that you currently do for marketing, and maybe even a window into what you think is working now, because it seems like things change so fast.
Yes, they do. Of course, I have my website that I try to keep updated. If you go into my website, there are blogs, there are recipe tabs, there's all kind of tabs that I keep updating. I do work with Michigan State students who actually volunteer for me. It's a excuse me, it's a give and take kind of a relationship. I love precepting them, so that's something that I do with them. I keep my website updated. I do try to post on social media at least once a week, if not twice. When I say social media, it's basically Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, because most of my clients are on Facebook or Instagram. So that also serves as a marketing tool at the same time. Many of my previous clients are also on there. I have a page called Dietitian Moushumi that I run on Facebook as well as Instagram, and that is completely exclusively just for my business, where I post recipes, meal ideas, just fun things, tips, and it's a way of giving back also to the community. And again, like I said, it's a way of marketing, because I do get people in from there. Every now and then, if there is a group that is focused on what my niche is, I might, put say something a little bit in there.
Mm-hmm. I did have a peek at some of your social media pages, and you do have some great content. And it sounds like a lot of that is created by your students, or
Yes,
the precept that you're precepting. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. Like I
Mhm.
said, they might do the base, or I might throw the idea, I'll have them do it, and then of course I'm reviewing it. So it's worked out pretty well.
Yeah, yeah. So, now you don't use any meal planning software. You don't have a program that hosts like a platform that hosts a program or a course or anything like that. Do you have other like a practice management software or an EMR, EHR kind of thing? How do you keep your notes? How do you do your accounting? These real technical things.
I typically have a version of Google, the Google Docs version,
Mhm.
with the private setting. That's where I like to keep my notes. And then if need be, then I can share it with a physician or whatever. So that's what I do, Catherine, with my notes. I'm trying to think, but yeah, I do not have an EMR that I'm using right now. Um, so that is it. It's very, this is for any dietitian who's looking to even start out. I always say it does not have to be super expensive to do a private practice. You
Right.
can actually set it with minimal costs. Um,
I agree. And I think we need to keep saying that over and over in these interviews that I do, that you don't have to have all the bells and whistles from day one. If you grow and you want to add something that makes your
yeah,
workflow better or streamlines your process, absolutely. But,
100%.
we can use the technology that's out there that's free,
That's
right?
free. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Like I said, I use minimal, if anything, and that's how I set it up. And I have grown. So I
Mhm.
like to give my example to even Michigan State students who are graduating, and as they're doing the internship. I'm like, because that is a very, like you said, very common question, and I know many people even worry about starting a practice because they think there's going to be such a big expense.
Mhm. Mhm. So what has changed I love asking this question of our sort of veteran dietitians. What do you see most that has changed in our field, just in general? It's kind of a broad question, or more specifically, in private practice, or just some things that you have noticed that are so different now from when you first started out? Anything that comes to mind?
Sure, Catherine. So one of the big things that I have noticed, and it's not just geared for my private practice, but I feel like when I graduated, which is 25 years back, it was the mindset was if you're a dietitian, you work in a hospital, you work in food service. There were just very limited arenas that a dietitian would work in. Now it is, I mean, I've seen dietitians, I've seen my own, students that have worked with me in so many different platforms. And I absolutely love it because we could be, I mean, who could not use a dietitian? Everybody can. Everybody can. And, at that time, in those days, there wasn't so many private practice dietitians that we would see. There wasn't so much about media, media dietitians. Like I said, it was very, I think, restricted to just a few streams. And now I feel like that's expanded so much more, which is so wonderful for our field. And I feel like people can now pick and choose what they're good at. Like somebody who is a media person could just do media, and that could be their livelihood. Somebody could just be working at a supermarket. So I feel like that is one thing that has definitely changed in our field.
Mhm. I agree with you that we seem to have had more visibility, or an increase in visibility. And I remember I graduated maybe 15 plus years ago also. And, we were positioned as nutrition experts, food and nutrition experts, but it seems like we are still needing to prove that over and over again, that that is the case,
Yes,
right?
yes, absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah. And so when you get an invitation to come on to television, or be a brand ambassador, it sounds like that's where you're kind of doing that sort of legwork for all of us to be out there, be visible, and show everybody what we can do.
Absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely. And that's why I make sure to correct anybody that calls me just a nutritionist. I
Right.
always say we are registered. We have to have a minimum, at our times it was bachelor's, but now it's a master's degree. We are science backed. We are saying what we are because there is a science. There is the experience that comes. So unlike every profession, or like every profession, we specialize in this. So it cannot be that somebody who's done a 2-month degree or whatever can call themselves. It does not work. And so yes, that's another reason I love going out there and explaining to mass, whether it be on TV or on media, whatever, wherever I'm quoted, that we are the gurus of nutrition.
I love that you put it that way. That's great. That's great.